Hey guys, so tonight I want to talk to you about code reviews. So they're not the most exciting topic, considering what other people are talking about tonight, but they're really important. And unless you're a developer, you might not understand how critical they are. And it's a little bit like unit testing. All the developers, they really want to do them, but sometimes the processes aren't in place for a team to actually make them work. So the next few minutes, I want to share some experiences over the last 12 months at a specific team at NewsCorp, where code reviews are no longer a manual chore. They're integrated so tightly into the culture of this team that they're treated the same way as scoping, development, testing, and releasing. So I've seen some amazing tech leads over the last few years, and they stay back all night and they code review the code from the developers in their team to make sure it's at the highest quality. And although this adds so much value to the team, it's not a scalable solution, because when they leave, code reviews suddenly stop happening. So what is a code review? In my opinion, a code review is using your experience as a developer to review and assume joint ownership of that code. And every team will have their own perception of what a code review is, and that will be built out as the team starts to do code reviews. So it's around syntax checking, it's around running unit tests, it's around checking that the architecture and the design patterns that are being used for that specific feature actually are the best ones to be used. And it's about checking out that code and running it locally and making sure that you give that tick of approval. So I've been in a lot of other teams where a few developers want to do code reviews, and that process fails. And it's not because anyone's doing anything wrong, but it is due to a few specific things that I've noticed. So they're ad hoc. Certain developers do them and certain developers don't do them. There's not enough time, which is always the problem. And sometimes people just don't know exactly what they should be code reviewing. What is that definition of a code review? And the biggest thing which I've noticed is that the surrounding processes that come from either the product managers or the scrum masters or the tech leads, this is not in place to actually encourage code reviews to happen. So, how do you make code reviews part of your team culture? It comes down to about 5 really quick tasks. So make it part of your task estimation. So we know unit testing takes up usually about 20%. In our team, we spend about 5% of the time on code reviews. So if a developer is spending a whole week building a feature, around 3 hours, 4 hours on a Friday is enough to code review that feature. Pull requests. I know a lot of developers use pull requests. If you don't know what they are, it's when you bring a big chunk of code and you bring it into a master branch as an example. So enforcing pull requests and making sure that another developer reviews that pull request before you merge it in is a great step forward to ensure code reviews actually happen. And this is very much how the open source community works. If you want to submit a change into Symfony, into WordPress, you make a pull request and a core contributor reviews your code and actually accepts it into the community. That's a really good approach to take. Use a great tool. We really heavily use Stash from Atlassian. If you're not using it, it's unbelievable. It makes code reviewing so easy. And we enforce that one approver must actually approve, or one developer must approve the code before it's actually merged in. And we actually take it a step further. Developers can approve the code from a pull request, but they can't actually merge it. And our testers merge the code, and that allows our testers to control the flow of code that goes into non-production or production environments. They're not overwhelmed with that capacity. So if you haven't used Dash really quickly, it's got an awesome UI. This is one of our repositories with a bunch of code reviews. You'll see the one highlighted in blue if you can see it. There's 38 comments in that code review. So that was a feature that we went back and forth with a lot of different developers saying, is this how we do it? How do we make this better? Then you'll see a lot of the code review, a lot of the pull requests in there only have, well, a lot of them actually have no comments, because we're developing as a team, we all develop the same way, and code reviews happen very quickly because there's no surprises. And the other thing I love to point out is that you'll notice that there's more than one approver on every code review. So that means that 2 or 3 people in our team actually know how that code works. So when someone goes on holidays, it's not a big problem, because someone else can pick it up. Keep it out in the open. Don't make the process silent. Third column there, that's our Kanban board. I know it's really crazy, but right now everyone in the team knows that there's 7 tasks in code review. And if it fails code review, it goes back into development, we make some changes, and we push it back into code review. So keep it out in the open. And the single greatest value we've gotten from code reviews is it's a knowledge sharing tool. In a lot of teams, I hear, oh, this developer knows this feature, this developer knows that feature. In our team, we obviously still have people who are experts in certain areas, but because one developer has developed it, at least one other developer has code reviewed it, there's 2 people that know the same code, sometimes 3 people. So, how can you introduce code reviews in your team if you don't already do it? I'm sure a lot of your teams already do it. Don't ask permission, just do it. You might hear that a lot. We're developers, we're tasked to build awesome, stable, secure code. If we have to code review, if we have to unit test, it's just part of what we have to do. We don't ask permission. Use a great tool, use Stash. Use pull requests and enforce code reviews. Make sure they're actually happening at pull request time. Don't have exceptions. Make sure that it's happening for all your code. Even if it's a really quick bug fix into production, obviously through a pull request, not like a cowboy, make sure it's code reviewed. Have a token for code review immunity. We had one guy who was getting code reviews every single day because he was so good at it, he just had enough. So we got a Jedi robe. And if you wear the Jedi robe and you're willing to wear it, there's only one of them around the office, no one can send you a code review at all. And lastly, this specific team I'm talking about, in the last 12 months, it's a new team. It's code reviewed over 172,000 lines of code, and that's something that they've been really proud of, that they're trying to encourage all the other teams in the company to do. Thank you.